Hi guys, welcome back to Stranger Times. So, Stephen Greer has an important message for us all about the 1st of June report and the cosmic threat that the US government says is very real indeed.
I'm giving you an urgent update on some developing news stories and initiatives that we have launched. The most important of which is that the report from the Director of National Intelligence may in fact be delayed. That is due on June 25th. The former Director of National Intelligence for the last administration 2 weeks ago in an interview said it would be coming early on June 1st. Now, what changed? In the interim, as you know, we've been working with Carol Rosin, who is the spokesperson for rocket inventor Wernher von Braun, and senior Russian officials and others around the world to try to get a ban on weapons in space, since those weapons are actually not being designed not for human-to-human conflict, but for targeting extraterrestrial vehicles.
So then you could say that the American Space Force is there to also, and the military, is there also to pose as a threat to alien craft. But why? What would be the point? And I also see no threat.
And this weapon ban from outer space is a matter of importance to, quite frankly, the survival of this planet. The Russian, Chinese, and American and the Biden administration a few days ago agreed to, in principle, sign this treaty. We have since learned that, in fact, that is most likely a deception and a stalling tactic, and that now the Council on Foreign Relations, in their Foreign Policy Journal, in the last 24 hours, has released a report advising against signing this treaty to ban weapons from outer space.
So why haven't they signed it already? I get that we have to have some form of defence on or around our planet, of course, but to not sign for a ban on the use of weapons in space is ridiculous. It's a silly idea. Man must always conquer what man sees. We need to stop this.
This is all very dynamic and in flux, and it has to do a great deal with a report that came out 2 days ago that it may be that the Director of National Intelligence report that by statute and law is due on no later than June 25th of this year will be delayed. What's happening, the best our assessment from intelligence sources, is that because of what we have been doing behind the scenes with officials both in the United States and in other countries, and in particular in Russia, where we now have a very senior retired general who publicly came forward recently stating that we are not alone in the universe, that the extraterrestrials are not hostile, and that there have been all kinds of disinformation and deceptive actions to pose that they are, but in reality they are not.
So why delay the report? It doesn't make sense. And yes, there is so much disinformation out there. Even we could be part of the disinformation. How do we know that we're not? One thing for sure, we all know that these UFO craft are very real, and to the average ufologist like myself, I don't believe that the extraterrestrials are a threat to mankind. I do believe that they could be a threat if they really wanted to be. Alien abduction can be classed as a threat.
And that this is an urgent reason why we need to have weapons banned from space, because we are sharing space with other civilizations and other cosmic cultures. Now, this videotape, which was loaded on a non-governmental site that is headed up by a cosmonaut who is working with us, who is this main trainer of astronauts and cosmonauts for Russia that go up to the space station and elsewhere, Timothy Igorov. As soon as that interview by this general was put up, their site was crashed and disappeared off YouTube. They have since gotten it back up. But what we're finding is that because we have been advising that other countries, since neither, all the way back to my meeting with the most senior people in the Clinton administration, no U.S. administration has been willing to truthfully disclose this issue. But we know that the covert interests have authorized this report from the Director of National Intelligence, which will present this as a national security threat, quote unquote, which is completely false. The complete truth is the only threat that have come from UFOs have come from man-made ones. And as you know from following the research we have done, we have dispositive evidence, in fact, proof, that many of the UFOs that are seen are made by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, and other aerospace contractors. And we have many people on our team who have confirmed that. Additionally, we have a document signed in the handwriting and written in penmanship by the head of the Lockheed Skunk Works, who has confirmed that in 1986, when he wrote the letter, that UFOs were both ours, man-made, and, quote, extraterrestrial.
But how can we really be sure that they are not a threat? We can't, can we? We can't be 100% sure that these aliens or extraterrestrials are not a threat. And all we can really do is hope that they aren't. And also, we can look back in history where our ancestors may have had help from ancient civilizations and ancient alien civilizations and see that, well, maybe they did help us after all with the megalithic buildings and structures. All we can really do is wait.
The reason this is so important is that the biggest part of the secrecy has nothing to do with extraterrestrials. It has to do with the deceptive plans to use man-made UFOs to present an existential threat to the world. In other words, they want to set up a false flag operation that looks like War of the Worlds, where the whole thing is being orchestrated by covert man-made assets. You will notice that this narrative is missing from every news report, every so-called ufologist who appears on Fox News and elsewhere, because they have been authorized to tell half a truth, which is much more dangerous than a lie. Basically, what they're saying is, yes, the UFOs are real, and then they add the lie as follows. They cannot be ours because we don't know how they work. That's a big lie. And the other big lie is they're a threat to the national security, which is also a lie. So what they've done is create talking points that senators like Marco Rubio and others who have not been briefed appropriately or in detail yet on this and are using talking points generated by this criminal cabal of unacknowledged special access projects are just sort of parroting whatever it is that they're being told. The problem with that is it all preserves the element of surprise. What do I mean by this? What that means is that if the national military command structure, the White House, and most of the Senate, as well as most of the Pentagon and most of the CIA, do not know and have not been read into the existence of these sorts of technologies, which can be stagecrafted, as they call it, and stage events that look alien, then anything that happens will be thought to be extraterrestrial when it is not. This is the heart of the secrecy. Not only are the technologies extraordinary and would save the world's biosphere and would give us an entirely new civilization without pollution or poverty, but by keeping it secret, it preserves their 70-year strategic plan, which was concocted in the 40s and 50s, to at some point play this card, as Werner von Braun told Carol Rosin, as the big threat from space that could unite the world around a militaristic, totalitarian effort. That's what's happening. It's happening right now. It's unfolding before our eyes. and the fake disclosure that the government is planning may be delayed a little bit.
So, a fake alien invasion, New World Order, Agenda 21, Illuminati, Project Bluebeam. The New World Order is a theory which hypothesizes a secretly emerging totalitarian world government. Theorists also contend that Illuminati were at the forefront of the French Revolution, the Battle of Waterloo, the assassination of the US President John F. Kennedy, and the New World Order by infiltrating the Hollywood film industry.
This hoaxing of a cosmic threat, by the way, is exactly what we had predicted back in the 90s, and that Werner von Braun had told Carol Rosin would happen way back in 1974. He had known about it apparently from the 50s and perhaps a little sooner. So we're now living in a time, unfortunately, where on the heels of this terrible pandemic, there are plans to falsely disclose an alien threat and then stage events that would terrify everyone on the planet. The only way that that will not be done is that it's exposed in advance. For this reason, and listen very carefully to how we need your help on this, we only need the funding help to get this documentary created and finished in 2 months, which we've never done, but we're going to release it open source. Now, what do I mean by that? We are not contracting with a film distributor who can tie it up, not for a nanosecond. It will be released to everyone to be put on all their YouTube and other sites, BitChute, whatever it is, by everyone in the world. We will ask every celebrity supporter of universal peace, people like Demi Lovato and Danica Patrick and many other people who are very involved and concerned about what's happening, to put it out to their hundreds of millions of followers. And we're going to ask that each of you take it, you have my permission, put it on your site, on other sites, on everyone you know, and get it out there. We want at least 1 billion people by this summer to know what the truth about this is and to see this evidence. In this film and on this April 25th event that will be webinaring, that you can join us remotely by computer, we will also be presenting the diagrams and models of the man-made UFOs that have been created and been used in hoaxed alien, quote unquote, events that are all man-made. We will have that evidence there and it will be presented. So I hope you can help us not only create this emergency documentary, but also join us on April 25th on Sunday. But also, if you can come in person, just let us know. Again, it's a very small group because of the exigencies and limits of the pandemic. And that when we have this finished, be ready to receive it, download it, and put it on every site in the world, including Russia, China, India, all over the world. This cannot just be an American or European initiative. It must be global. Because at this point, we are simply running out of time to get this information out and to neutralize the threat. Now, how do you neutralize the threat? You expose their plans before they do it. Listen to just what I said. We must expose not only what they're doing, but how they're going to do it. What are the assets? What do those aircraft look like? How are they functioning? How might this unfold? We know this information. We have the technology information. We have the schematics. We have the people who worked on them and built them. And the really sad thing is that you have Mr. Radcliffe, who is the Director of National Intelligence, and Senator Marco Rubio specifically saying that these UAPs, which is, again, another fake word they've made up after UFOs, which also is a fake word. When they came up with UFOs, by the way, they already knew that they were both man-made and extraterrestrial, just as Ben Rich, the head of Lockheed, stated. But they have both asserted in the last 2 weeks in mainstream media interviews that these, quote, UAPs are moving in a way going faster than the speed of sound, but not creating a sonic boom, and that, quote, we don't have that technology. That is absolutely not true. I have personally interviewed engineers who have built that technology and who have worked on them all the way back into the 50s and 60s and more recently. So have my aerospace researchers and team members. So for the Director of National Intelligence and the ranking member of the Senate Intelligence Committee to be making these statements, they are either completely uninformed or they are repeating a talking point that is a lie. Either way, that is extremely dangerous, because in the absence of the knowledge of the truth and the repeating of that lie by the mainstream media over and over and over again, the public is going to think any terrible thing that happens with something that looks like a UFO is quote unquote alien, when in fact it isn't.
Are we ready? Are we awake to the real reality of these extraterrestrials and their existence? What can we really do? Can we do anything at all? UFOs, aliens or extraterrestrials are very real indeed. I would say that we have a chance of knowing, but I think the whole or near whole of mankind has to be ready. We can all keep our eyes looking up and try to communicate maybe in a CE5 way, but again, all we can do is wait. Thanks very much guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, hit the notifications button, hit the like button, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.